We're standing here live outside of the ENGEMANN Student Health Center where a protest just finished wrapping up. Coming up, we chat with an organizer about what this protest was all about.
DPS says burglaries are on the rise around campus, but they say there's one easy way you can help prevent them.
The California State Senate has proposed a bill to get rid of certain speed limits in certain freeway lanes. We have a reaction from a USC transportation expert.
Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
This campus has seen enough trauma and has experienced enough pain, and it's really time for us to actually stand up and do something.
Protesters have just marched from Tommy Trojan to ENGEMANN. Good evening, I'm Natalie Ruxton.
And I'm Angel Viscarra. Our reporter.
We're standing here live outside of the ENGEMANN Student Health Center, and as you can see, there's barely any people out here. We are out in the pouring rain, but just minutes ago, there were well over 3 dozen USC students and faculty members protesting the way that the university has handled allegations of sexual misconduct by its own physicians up in that building. This event actually initially started on the center of campus back at Tommy Trojan. The students marched all the way over here, gathered right in front of those doors, and were chanting against the way the university has responded. They say they've ignored complaints. Now, this event was really sparked by a new lawsuit coming out with 6 former USC male students, all gay and bisexual, suing the university and a former men's sexual health physician over claims that he sexually discriminated against them because of their sexual orientation. And of course, we all remember just last spring, hundreds of female patients sued the university over a gynecologist who they say sexually abused them. Now, we spoke to one of the event organizers of the rally today about why this presence on campus matters.
We cannot be silent. We cannot just sweep this under the rug and continue on. We should be studying. We should be going to classes, taking midterms, having fun, but certain circumstances on this campus have forced us to be activists.
Read one thing and then I'll get to you. Now, we did receive a response from a university official who came out today. This response is directly from Dr. Sarah Van Orman, the Associate Vice Provost for Student Health. She said, quote, USC supports and values all of its members, including our LGBTQ community. We understand the importance of quality, respectful health care for all of our students, and we are committed to providing that. Now, I'm joined now by one of the students who was out at the rally today. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining me. You're a student here at USC. What are your concerns, going through the motions and going to ENGEMANN now?
Well, I think that people feel like they can't go if something happens to them because there just are no rape kits. There just aren't. And for a university that claims to care about its students, and before we all start as freshmen, we take a class about consent, but that doesn't mean anything if one of the most expensive universities in the country thinks it's too expensive to make rape kits available to us, or to really have any kind of system at all set up to punish the people who do these things. And on the other end, there's no therapist here that will take care of you when something like that has happened.
Now, I want to ask you one more question. Thank you for joining me in the pouring rain. What do you hope to gain by having all these students here together today? What do you hope to send to the university?
I really just hope that they'll understand that this is not a problem that only a few people care about, or that only people who have been victimized care about. This is something that we all need to care about, or else they have no motivation to change it. If we don't make them feel uncomfortable, they'll have no reason not to keep letting these things happen over and over again.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, I'd say you come out here and join us, but this event did just wrap up minutes ago. But the fight, organizers are saying, is far from over. They're encouraging students to continue to gather, to continue to support in this movement against what they're saying is ignorance and oblivion from the university. That's all we've got here. Again, standing live outside of the ENGEMANN Student Health Center, Madeline Audley, and I'll send it back to you.
Thanks so much, Maddie. Many USC students don't know what to do if they witness sexual violence or harassment. That's why last night the USG president voted unanimously to offer bystander intervention training. According to the Association of American Universities, more than 50% of undergraduates have witnessed a drunken person heading for a sexual encounter. More than half of those students, bystanders, say they didn't do anything to intervene in those situations. This pilot program would teach bystanders how to safely intervene. Dr. Brenda Ingram agrees USC needs to do more to prevent sexual violence.
One of the things that sexual violence does, or any type of interpersonal violence, is that it creates this sort of isolation of the victim, that somehow they're different, that this happened to them. So having a bystander program says that this is something that we all will invest in, is providing safety for everyone.
The goal is to make this program an annual requirement by 2021.
39 burglaries have been recorded in USC student residential areas since August. DPS is worried about a particular kind of burglary that's been reported several times over the last few weeks. These so-called hot prowl burglaries take place when a student is at home. There have been 11 since August and 3 just in the past 6 weeks. Most burglaries take place in DPS Patrol Area C. That's the north tip of campus up to West Adams Street, and Area D, just northwest of campus.
There are usually people that are homeless and are just looking for food. A lot of those are taking place because, for whatever reason, students don't lock their doors. What we're planning to do is organize certain days of the week where we go around to these neighborhoods and knock on the doors and just talk to students or members of the community and remind them to keep their doors locked.
When DPS officers start going door to door, they would like students to go with them to draw attention to the problem and show just how important it is to keep doors locked.
Misinformation was under the microscope at the latest meeting of the American Association for Advancement of Science.
And our reporter Evan Falstrup traveled to Washington, D.C. and is here now with the story. Evan?
That's right, Angel. Researchers are looking for a formula to prevent social media from perpetuating inaccurate information about science. They say it's like an infection that grows online. One example is the anti-vaccine movement. It grew out of a debunked medical report linking vaccines and autism. Scared parents have withheld vaccinations, and that's led to outbreaks of measles. In Washington state, the number of infected is up to 36. The governor has declared a state of emergency. Scientists say it'll take more than just better technology to identify faulty science.
It's not going to be purely an algorithm that will save us. It's going to involve people with the willingness to ask, where did this information come from? Is there any corroborating evidence? Is there a motivation to put misinformation on the net?
We all could do a better job telling our story and communicating to the society and the public about how science is used and why it's important.
Scientists, journalists, communicators, engagement with the public, right? Those boundaries have to be crossed, right? And we have to all work together.
At the conference over the weekend, scientists admit they have not come up with a singular solution. For now, they just want people to know about the viral epidemic of false information.
Thanks so much, Evan. A long-term study shows some concerning trends in the heart health of young people, particularly women. A study published in the journal Circulation looked at a 20-year period of hospital admissions. Over that time, the number of women admitted for heart attacks increased by 10%. Admissions for men in the same age group increased by only 3%. Some have criticized the study for only focusing on a small number of communities. Researchers have suggested that the increase is due to an increase in obesity and diabetes across the country.
And coming up, we have reaction from USC experts on proposed high-speed lanes on our California freeways.
Nearly 7,000 people became citizens this morning. We have reaction from some of our newest Americans.
And our reporter Elizabeth Mayoral Corpus takes a look at screenings at the U.S.-Mexico border.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
迷惑ボーイ。
ここはなんとかしなくちゃ。スーパーカインドの交通機関案内。When you ride on the bus or rail, don't eat popcorn, meat, or kale. Food can smell and it makes a mess. Keep LA Metro clean and fresh. Come along with me, let's go. It's time to ride on the Metro. When eating food causes problems, you know super
There are growing concerns about increased interrogations at the U.S.-Mexico border and searches of personal electronic devices. Reporter Elizabeth Mayoral Corpus says a group that protects journalists is now asking Congress for help.
Activist James Cordero went to the border on Christmas Eve to deliver toys to children at Tijuana shelters like these. He thought it was a quick trip, but Border Patrol officers interrogated him twice.
They asked me more questions if I had been inside the shelters, other shelters, what the sense of feeling was inside these shelters. Did I witness any crime going on in these shelters? Did I notice people like the migrants working together to try to devise a plan to overtake the border? Things that were, I wouldn't say realistic.
He's not the only one being questioned repeatedly. According to the Committee to Protect Journalists, reporters covering the migrant caravan are being questioned more often. This was the case with photojournalist Ariana Dressler.
They just wanted to know what I had been seeing in Tijuana. They said that I was on the ground. They're not. I asked them about my passport. They said it was flagged, and that's why I was sent to secondary. When I asked, why, they said they had no idea why.
She says she was interrogated 2 more times and asked to show her photographs to agents. She declined. Another reporter captured with her camera a confrontation between journalists and Border Patrol agents.
That's all I got to say about it. So I wish you just let them do what they're going to do. But
we are just reporters. When there's just documented the issue, we are not involved.
All right. Well, I understand, but some people say that reporters are helping them climb the fence. So just telling you, it's against the law.
Before hundreds of asylum seekers gather at the border, the number of electronic devices searched by Border Patrol had already spiked. Between 2015 and 2017, the number tripled to 30,000. And Homeland Security says many of these searches were not done properly. In response, the Committee to Protect Journalists is urging Congress to act. It wants its agents to have a warrant before searching devices, to submit a detailed report on all electronic searches at the border, and for Congress to have hearings on device searches. Right now, Congress is considering a law that would require a warrant for all device searches at the border. For Annenberg Media, I'm Elizabeth Mayoral Corpus.
And joining me now is reporter Elizabeth Mayoral Corpus. Elizabeth, you've been to the border a number of times. So why exactly are the Border Control questioning journalists right now?
Natalie, right now what's happening at the border is these photojournalists and also activists that are really having a lot of contact with migrants in Tijuana. They're asking them, how's their experience over there? Why are they doing the job that they're doing? And they want to get basically information about what's happening in Tijuana, who's running the shelters, and, also the questions as if migrants are having plans of taking the border and crossing again. So, basically what they want to get is some kind of more information about migrants and shelters in Tijuana.
So how is this affecting the conversation of freedom of speech for journalists especially, or anyone that kind of wants to speak their mind about this issue?
Well, speaking with photojournalists, Ariana, the one that was on the package, she was telling me that this topic, screenings and questionings at the border, it's really bad for freedom of speech, because journalists have really sensitive information in their devices, such as cameras, or maybe also in their notebooks. And the fact that these Border Patrol officers have, they're entitled to check all of this can be really dangerous for freedom of speech, because it's our responsibility of journalists to protect what migrants are telling us and to also cover these stories that nowadays are so important for discussion on immigration.
Moving on to our last question. So what kinds exactly questions are they asking these journalists, and are they taking and confiscating these devices? How is that happening?
Well, the questions basically that they're asking, it's about the situation in Tijuana, what they're seeing, what does the migrants are telling them, and basically their Border Patrol officers are asking them to show them, cameras, cell phones, and they can politely decline, and it's not their responsibility, but they're checking their devices and they're asking for them for all their kinds of materials that journalists use in the border.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for your reporting. Back to you, Angel.
And today, a grand total of 10,000 people became U.S. citizens at the Los Angeles Convention Center. The new citizens come from more than 100 countries, including Mexico, the Philippines, China, and El Salvador. According to the government, somewhere between 700 and 750,000 citizens are naturalized every year, and as of 2016, California has the most naturalized citizens.
I feel great. I feel that I'm going to be able to make a change by voting for the people that I like, and it'll be a positive one.
3-1, right?
And be able to voice out my opinion and not be afraid of being sent back to your country, even though you've been here forever.
Today's been emotional because you pledge to the flag and you become an American and you sing the Star-Spangled Banner, and it was beautiful, so beautiful.
My family are citizens, and I didn't have any interest in becoming a citizen, but my daughter, last year, gifted me my citizenship for Mother's Day.
The next naturalization ceremony at the convention center will happen in late April. Well, I tell you what, looking at Maddie in the A block, opening up our show, dude, we've had nice weather lately. Why does it look like she just took a shower?
I was definitely not envious of her at all.
We don't pay her enough.
We're going to toss it over to our weather anchor, Selena.
Thanks so much, Angel and Natalie. It definitely is wet outside right now, and it's cold too. Let's take a look. It felt like around 56 degrees today, and it's going to get even colder as the sun continues to set. It might seem a little bit silly to our viewers in the rest of the country, but we've been experiencing some pretty cold temperatures down here in Southern California for us. It's 21 degrees in Big Bear tomorrow, and it's snowing there right now. It's going to be 55 degrees in Palm Springs, and then 50 degrees up in San Bernardino, and 51 down in Riverside. Even though these temperatures are in the mid-50s, though, we've got lows all through the mid-30s, which is almost freezing. It's going to be 53 degrees in Thousand Oaks, 57 down by the coast in Malibu, and then 56 up in Northridge and 52 in the San Fernando Valley. Getting down to LA Basin, thank goodness, we're not going to have these wet conditions tomorrow, but it is still going to be chilly. We might have some mid-morning showers over in Pomona and Pasadena, but then over here, LAX, USC, Long Beach, we're looking at mid-50s and just some clouds for right now. So let's take a look at my 5-day forecast that I've put together for all of us. Tomorrow we're going to see some clouds, but then as the temperatures continue to raise, we're going to see those go away, and we might even have some sun for this weekend, a sunny Sunday. So then on Monday we're going to have it's going to be mid-60s, and those lows are just going to keep on coming up. We might even see some 70s next week.
Super glad things are warming up, Angel.
Absolutely, absolutely.
A California senator is proposing new freeway lanes without speed limits, something that would benefit drivers who like to live life in the fast lane. Senator John Morlack wants California to construct high-speed Autobahn lanes, similar to those in Germany. The proposal comes as an alternative to high-speed rail project that the governor canceled. These proposed new lanes could cut travel time from the Bay Area to Southern California down to 2 hours. USC engineering professor James Moore said today that, quote, building high road supply rather than building a high-speed rail is likely to be a big upgrade. So if the federal government is prepared to help us build roads instead, great.
Well, and speaking of highways, it sounds like those UCLA Bruins are going to be moving down the 10 to come do some battle with us this weekend. Our sports anchor, Taylor Begley, has more.
Yes, it's a big weekend in sports. We have USC men's tennis taking on rivals UCLA at home. It's an important matchup for the Trojans as the battle for the Crosstown Cup is tight. USC men's basketball is finishing out their season with only conference matchups remaining. We'll discuss what it will take for the Trojans to be successful in the postseason. And USC baseball takes on national runner-up Arkansas at home this weekend. The Trojans won their series last weekend, but need to make some important adjustments if they hope to beat the Razorbacks.
Guys, honestly, 5 more minutes. Like.
迷惑ボーイ。
ここはなんとかしなくちゃ。
スーパーカインドの交通機関案内。
I see you blocking the aisle. That's a rude thing to do. This causes problems because people can't get around you. So when you bring your some space, so can you please get out the way? Leave some room for the rest of us.
The number 24 ranked USC men's tennis faces crosstown rival number 14 ranked UCLA this Friday. I sat down with the number 4 ranked singles player in the nation, USC sophomore Daniel Kucherman, ahead of the matchup. You are here by way of Israel.
Yeah.
And you actually served 3 years in the Israeli army before coming to USC. So what has that transition been like for you?
It's been weird, honestly, to be a 21 years old freshman when everybody's 18. It's a little bit weird, and now when I'm a sophomore, I'm almost 23. So it needs to adjust. My English wasn't that great when I came here, and I studied international school, so it wasn't like perfect English. But when I came here, like the guys in the team got me like very well and a very warm welcome, so I feel very comfortable right now, and it's like a new home.
Yeah. And how did your service shape you as a person?
Well, the army, it doesn't matter really what you do, but the army is kind of like mature everybody before you go to the army, and after you just like a completely different person, I feel like.
And were you able to focus on tennis at all for those 3 years? How did you balance that?
There is a program for athletes, so it's not like I can't practice. So they give you like a few hours a day that you have to serve, and then the other time of the day I can practice and do like play tournaments few times a year. So they kind of adjust for the athletes, like to have easier conditions.
Kucherman told me that his team is excited for the crosstown rivalry matchup, especially after last season, where the Bruins knocked USC out of both the Pac-12 and the NCAA playoffs. Now it's time to move from the court to the diamond. Let's send it over to Chloe with more on USC baseball.
Thanks, Taylor. The USC baseball team plays against Arkansas at home this weekend. If the Trojans hope to beat the national runner-up Razorbacks, they have a few things they need to work on.
We're going to try and stay the course offensively. I thought the guys had great at-bats all weekend. It took us a little bit to get going on Friday, but I thought the guys swung the bats extremely well all weekend. So we're going to just kind of stay the course there. We got a couple things defensively we need to shore up, and then today we're going to inter-squad a little bit to get some pitchers who didn't get in the games this weekend, get them an inning, and then so we're 100% fresh going into the weekend.
The Trojans will need to make improvements on defense. Arkansas put up 27 runs in their first 2 games and finished with a walk-off winner on Sunday. USC will have to contain top Arkansas hitter Trevor Ezell. He has had 3 RBIs and a home run last weekend. It'll be a tough series ahead for the Trojans. USC is coming off a 2-1 win in the series home opener against Omaha, but the Trojans need great hits at bat to not leave runners on base and keep their pitchers fresh to secure the win. Well, Taylor, USC men's basketball team has 2 important conference matchups this weekend.
So the Trojans only have 5 more games in the conference before the Pac-12 playoffs. Every game has high stakes at this point.
Earlier in the season, USC lost to both Oregon teams. What do you predict from the Trojans in these games?
Well, USC has been much better at home this season. Oregon State will be a key matchup. They sit at number 2 in the Pac-12 standings, and earlier in the season, USC lost a close one in overtime. How do you think the Trojans will do in the Pac-12 tournament this year, or the NCAA tournament?
After Oregon and Oregon State, USC plays Utah, UCLA, and Colorado. They're currently ranked 5th in the conference, but they beat UCLA previously and lost a close game against Utah. If they can perform in these games and secure a first-round bye in the Pac-12 tournament, I think they can come out on top and make it to NCAAs. Ending their season with wins will give them momentum, but they really have to take it one game at a time.
Yeah, that's true. That's all today for sports. Back to you, Angel and Natalie, at the desk.
Thank you so much over there, sports team. Obviously, those games, as they get towards the end of the year, they get very important. Those big tournaments you guys mentioned, they're coming right up.
Super exciting stuff. One of college basketball's biggest games is tonight. Fans can get in for a lofty price.
We'll tell you all about it next.
Hey guys, Danny Trejo here. There was going to be a whole song and dance routine about how you should wait your turn to enter the train. But they got me, Danny Trejo, to talk to you instead. Look, when you don't wait your turn to enter the train, it's rude and potentially dangerous. And believe me, I know a thing or two about rude and dangerous. I'm Danny Trejo. Don't be like rude, dude. Be kind, like super kind. Excuse me.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Well, folks, break out the piggy banks. Tickets for one of the biggest rivalries in college basketball are reaching Super Bowl type heights. A seat at tonight's matchup between #1 ranked Duke and #8 ranked North Carolina costs on average, get ready, $4,000. The most expensive tickets sold for more than $10,000. And you might ask, what's the main attraction? Well, that is Duke's Zion Williamson. This freshman is widely considered by many as the best player in the country.
Thanks so much for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Natalie Ruxton.
And I'm Angel Viscarra. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. Good night, folks.
Yeah.